Fire, and today's game is...
Rogue 64 was published in January 2022 by Bitmap Soft, with the game being developed by Badger Punch Games on the Commodore 64. This is the same team behind 2020's fun arcade ROM Showdown, also on the C64, and featured in episode number 25 of my new retro series. This game, however, is in a completely different genre, that being a procedurally generated roguelike. If you're unfamiliar with the genre, it's about trying to see how far you can make it in a dungeon before dying. Strategy and light RPG elements and easy to get to grips with gameplay make this a fun entry-level RPG style genre to get into, and that applies to this game as well. I was lucky enough to talk to lead programmer Ricki Sickenger about the making of this game.
Hello, my name is Ricki Sickenger. I'm a developer at Badger Punch Games. The last 2 years we've been working on Commodore 64 games, and Rogue 64 is our latest one.
Rogue 64 is a simple but very addictive game. It starts out easy, but thankfully ramps up the difficulty slowly so you never find yourself too frustrated. The story for the game has you as an explorer looking for some fortune and glory, and taking on the challenge of trying to make it to the bottom of a deadly dungeon known as Mordecoom to claim its treasure. And it goes without saying that the further you go, the more deadly it becomes. I asked Ricki if he could tell us a bit more about the team behind this game.
Henning is our graphics guy, Henning Ludvigsen. He's a really good artist, and I've known him since the demo days back on the Amiga in the 90s. So we've been cooperating quite a while, both back in the demo scene, and then later on we were in the company who made a MMO called Darkfall together. So I've known him for a long time, and he's a really nice person to work with. Sami Luko, he does the music, great guy, makes lovely music. Got to know him the last year or so, because he helped us make the music for Showdown and then Snowdown. So yeah, he's a really great guy and a lovely musician.
Gameplay is simple. You walk into monsters ease style to fight. You can pick up an array of potions to help you on your quest. These have various properties like healing, boosting your strength temporarily, and killing all the monsters on screen. Your goal in each level is to find a key which can unlock the door to the next dungeon level. What I like about this game the most is the approach of having all the info and stats on the same screen, eliminating any extra input for other screens, which streamlines not only the pace of the game but also the simplicity of the whole thing. I asked Ricki about the idea behind doing this.
The aim of Rogue 64 has always been to keep it as accessible as possible to people, but at the same time keeping it in the roguelike genre. But the actual reason why everything is on one screen and why the play screen is just 10 by 10 Charles is because of it's based on the Rogue 4K game. And in the Rogue 4K game we actually had a bigger play screen in the beginning, but then we found out that as I was meeting the requirements and I was running out of space basically, I started using screen space for code. So I reduced the play area so I could have a few more bytes for my code. I found out reducing it down to 10 by 10 actually worked pretty fine. And so when we started on Rogue 64 we kept it that way. And then we were able to have the map on the right hand side and have all the stats on the left hand side and put all the information on the screen at the same time, which worked out pretty well actually.
The last few years the C64 has been blessed with many games in the genre, from the awesome Catabatia to Rogue 64, and it's fun seeing this genre's revival. On a system these kind of games had some of their first releases back in the early 80s. I asked Ricki about how this game came to be and the choice to make a roguelike.
Rogue 64 is based on a rogue like game that we made for the Cassette 50 charity competition called Rogue 4K. In that competition you had to make a game that was less than 4 kilobytes, and I thought it would be interesting to try and make a roguelike in 4 kilobytes, because then you have, when you do a procedural generation, and it's easy to make more content even though you have quite a few memory restrictions. The game ended up being less than 4K, but over 2K of the code was actually just the dungeon generation algorithm. The game got the 4th place in the competition, and I really liked making it, and I loved the way the algorithm worked. So when I was finished with the game I thought that this has a bit of potential, so it'd be cool to try and explore what kind of game we can make if we actually explored or used the full potential of the Commodore 64.
There are many things to like here. The simple but detailed graphic style, which really appeals to me. It makes me think of classic games like Temple of Apshai, for example. The music is particularly good, really taking advantage of the SID chip, with a long, modern-sounding, haunting yet toe-tapping tune, complete with sound effects for added atmosphere. It's really good. The auto-mapped feature on the right is also pretty impressive, and it helps eliminate the use for good old pen and paper. But my favorite aspect of this game is that when creatures die, they don't respawn. Kill everything in a level and you're free to explore unhindered, which is an aspect of these games which is always annoying, especially in large scale areas. I was curious though as to how long the team had been working on this game for.
We started work on Rogue 64 after the Cassette 50 charity competition was finished, so I guess it was around beginning of April. And then I had a bit of a pause between June and September last year, and then continued until now, January. So it's been on and off, I guess, about 6 months of my evenings.
Overall, Rogue 64 is another great game in the genre on the C64. Its one more try addictiveness really shines through, and isn't easy for anyone to get into game and understand quickly. It also comes with a built-in instruction manual in-game for any more information nuances. It's available now digitally in the CRT format for use in VAS and the C64 Mini and Maxi, and Bitmap Soft has just released these gorgeous physical cartridge versions as well, and I'll leave links in the description to both the physical order and the digital download. And I asked Ricki one more question about if they got any more upcoming C64 project in the works, and he said,
we have started on another Commodore 64 game, can't really tell you much about it. It's going to be another kind of like a party game, multiplayer party game like Showdown was, maybe a little bit simpler than the Rogue 64. I'm also looking into Amiga stuff, as I used to be active in the old Amiga demo scene, so we'll see. I'm not sure about it yet. We're probably going to make another Commodore 64 game this year, maybe at least start on an Amiga game as well.
And that's Rogue 64. Take the plunge. It's well worth your time.